yeah, we have an intro we're supposed to do. Duh.
All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Loyalist. And today is a great day. It is a great... I'm kind of in that mood, dude. I'm in a good mood, okay? This past week, obviously, you guys know that I've had different kinds of issues. You know, I've got financial problems that I'm dealing with. I've got dealing with stupid people out there on the streets, you know, in the real world that you just kind of have to, you just want to reach out and, you know, touch someone, not in a nice way either. But you know what? The schedule dropped yesterday. I jumped on Bring the Juice in their comment section and gave them a little bit of my information, you know, what I felt about, you know, the first, you know, analysis of it. And then I've had all day today to kind of contemplate the schedule, and I'm really excited about the schedule. Actually, now I understand you pretty much had just today to go over the schedule, but after looking at the schedule, what was your initial thoughts?
Gotta win early. That was the first thing that just, I mean, you see, you know, all these AFC South games before Halloween, a lot very similar to last year. You know, I mean, gotta win early, you know, to achieve all the goals that this team should be eligible for this year. I mean, that I can't express that. You know, slow start is just going to be so devastating this year. So let's just not do that this year, fellas.
Absolutely. Now, pardon me while I bring up the schedule, because I haven't actually brought it up because I wasn't prepared like I normally am. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. But here we go. All right, 22 schedule. So we open up first game of the year. I'm just going to spout these out really quick. We got a 1:00 game against Houston, and then a 1:00 game against Jacksonville, then a 1:00 game against Kansas City, then a 1:00 game against the Titans. That's 3 out of the first 4 is our division, plus Kansas City put in there. That's interesting. And then we got the Broncos, then we got Jacksonville again, and then a 1:00 game against the Titans again. And just like that, 7 weeks in, we got all but one of our divisional games out of the way. All but one. Mm-hmm. Wow. And then we go and we play against the Commanders, then the Patriots, and then the Raiders, and then Philly, and then we get our first home Monday night football game in so long. I don't know what to think about it, but hey, great. It's Pittsburgh Steelers. Then we got the Cowboys, right? Then we got our bye week, week 14 again. What? Yeah, man, that's 2 years in a row really late. We're used to having our bye week like week 4 or week 6, you know. So and then we got, you know, the Vikings. Then we got another Monday night home primetime game against the Chargers. That's 2. That's the first time in history that the Colts have had 2 home Monday night football games in the same year. What? And then you got the Giants, and then we finished the season off as we did last year, a bookend divisional team, right? Last year it was the Jaguars. This year it's the Texans. Now that's a to be determined. Same with the Vikings, to be determined. Depending upon the Vikings game. Now last year it was the Patriots was a to be determined game. Basically same part of the schedule, and I predicted that was going to be slid into a primetime spot, probably a Saturday. I was right. I'm not seeing that this time. Quite frankly, because I don't see the Vikings being a threat to make a huge postseason run. So I don't think that they will slide that into a big primetime spot. And then of course, the Texans, the last game of the year. So you said the beginning of the schedule is so important, and I'm not going to disagree with you. It's one of those situations, man, where you just got to win early, get all the win. Colts can't have the same kind of start that we have had the last 7, 8 years, right? Where we're starting off 0-3 or 1-5 or 2-4 or some crap like that. Indy needs to start off and have a really good beginning of the season, because we got some really potentially tough teams starting about midway through this upcoming season.
Yeah, and the thing is, you look at that. I mean, first two are road games. Okay, I know you were pushing, really on the wagon of, hey, give me Jacksonville, and I was totally on board with that. We got close to that. I mean, because I would argue that we've got a fairly, and I know every game is losable, every game is winnable. I understand that, but as far as of our schedule, give me the Texans week 1. Give me these guys early. And that'll help us get that early momentum and stuff, So by the time we get into week 3, 4, and 5, which for me, that's that right there, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to week 7. That little stretch of games, huge importance, because like you said, all but one of them is against the AFC South team, and then that's the Titans twice, and then you've got the Chiefs in there, and then we sprinkled in our other Jacksonville game, so. We hit that 4-game stretch. If we can come out of that 4-game stretch at 3-1 or 2-2, and then win the first 2 and stuff, that'll put us, right around 5-2 at the beginning of the season. That would really set us up nicely for the latter half of the schedule, I think.
Absolutely. I don't disagree at all. And I'm looking, when I first looked at this schedule, I immediately, I was like, you know what? Just from initial looks, I think we win the first 3 games of the year. Last year we started 0-3. This year I think we start 3-0. And people are looking at me going, that third game is Kansas City. And I'm thinking Kansas City is going to be the easiest of the games that we play against the AFC West, because our team is built to beat teams like that, right? I mean, we beat them with Jacoby Brissett and Marlon Mack. Yep. Okay. That's what we beat them. And our defense is way better than what it was when we played them at that point. And we upgraded both positions since then. I mean, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say, I'm going to take Matt Ryan over Jacoby Brissett. I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor.
I don't know if I can handle these hot takes.
I think I'm going to take, now, no disrespect at all to Jacoby Brissett or Marlon Mack. Man, you guys were awesome when you were here. But let's face it, all right, JT, I'm going to take JT over Marlon. Love Marlon, but I'm going to take JT over Marlon. And I am so taking Matt Ryan over Jacoby, okay? I feel like we have a much better team. People want to say, oh, well, Kansas City's defense, they've gotten a lot better this year. Do you realize that we beat the 2 best defenses in the NFL last year in Buffalo? We scored 65 points against the 2 best defenses in football last year, which is the Bills and the Rams. Between the 2, we scored 65 points against them. We scored pretty good against Tampa Bay, who also was a top 5 defense last year.
Yeah, and if our quarterback don't get hurt in week 2, we probably score more than 65, because I still think, we would have gone down and at least put a field goal, if not a touchdown, in that Rams game.
Yeah, I honestly think that the toughest game we're going to have is in Jacksonville week 2 and through those first 3 games. Because let's face it, we always have a tough time in Jacksonville, right? Mm-hmm. Always. Now, as delusional Pats fan says in there, can't be losing to Clown Town. All right. And I agree. But the first 2 weeks, like you talked about earlier, how, I wanted to play Clown Town week 1 in Jacksonville just to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Well, we got the second best option, right?
Yeah.
We played the worst team in the division, in my opinion, because I honestly think that Jacksonville is better than Houston. I really do believe that. I think that, and I'm going to say it this way only because Jacksonville has more talent, but last year their coaching staff was awful. And that's, that was a problem. Houston, better coaching, but let's face it. I mean, they pretty much ixnayed all their talent right out the door. They're in a complete and utter rebuild, and they're doing well, but they've got, their danger point is going to happen next year, the year after with all these draft picks that they have, if they draft well. So, I mean, we get a chance, real chance to go 1-0 against Houston. And then we get the chance to beat Jacksonville and get that monkey off our shoulder 2 weeks in a row. So that's an excellent opportunity for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I agree completely. And to be honest with you, like for me, this year, I look at this year as if this wide receiving core can get, gelled with Matt Ryan early enough and stuff, there isn't a single game, a single team that I don't think that the Colts can compete with. I'm not saying that they're going to sit there and lay the wood and blow out every team in the league. That's not where I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there isn't a team this year where I look and go, oh, man, I have to give that one a loss. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, you get those first 2 games. What happens if you start winning? First off, I would argue that will be the happiest city on the planet, if we could sit there and get 2 wins in the first 2 weeks, because like you said, that's no longer a monkey on the Colts back. That thing's getting to the size of a silverback gorilla. I mean, this thing is getting pretty huge. But if you sit there and you get this young team and you get those wins early on, and then that momentum starts kicking in, and then like you said, the Chiefs, our first home game, Indianapolis, after starting off 2-0, if everything, man, Kansas City, that couldn't have worked out any worse for them. I mean, because like you said, this team respects Kansas City, but I don't think there's any fear. There's not, like I said, I don't think there's a team that really puts the fear in them about, okay, oh man, we're on an upward climb. Because like I said, this defense, I think, is going to be able to shut down a lot of these high-powered offenses. And I don't mean shut them out, but just shut them down, make it a lot harder. I don't think that, this defense is going to allow those really long, stretched out drives to where that momentum or that energy gets sucked out of the dome and stuff. So, yeah, this schedule, and I mean, you got what? Like, I think 2 road games back to back is the most that you have, and it's like 2 and 2 and 2 and 1 and 2, and I mean, it's staggered out real nice. You don't have any long stretch of road games. You don't have any long stretch of home games. I mean, it's unfortunate this year. We're short 1 home game because of last year having 9 home. This year we have 8. But, yeah, I look at this team and this roster that Chris Ballard, and you start thinking about the youth and the way this thing can start rolling out in a positive way. And, man, after week 3, week 4, like I said, the team's going to feel, very confident going into any and all games, I would imagine, especially whenever we go out 4-0 after the first 4 weeks.
Last year, I didn't think there was a team that the Colts couldn't beat last year. And that was with Carson Wentz at quarterback. All right. Mm-hmm. And we got a much better team now. And that's unanimous, I think, by just about unless you're just trying to troll. We have a much better team this year than what we had last year. Okay. Especially with all the additions and the draft and everything that went through. So, and like I said, last year, I didn't see a team, I felt like we could hang with anybody. And we did. We hung with everybody except for teams that we should have just smoked. Now the Raiders is one of those weird teams that, they're built to play against us very well. Okay. And Carr has always played us very well. So that's a game that's very tough in my opinion. But Kansas City, I see us smoking them. smoking them. I'm going to get a lot of pullback for that. But you know what? I said we were going to smoke the Bills too. I got a lot of pullback from that. Guess what happened? All right. Whenever I put down, I said, hey, we're going to beat the Patriots by 2 scores at least. I got a lot of pushback on that. Guess what happened? All right. Now, I'm not saying that right now that that's going to happen, against the Patriots this time. Last time, it's circumstances, right? It's, walking into that situation with what was going on at that time. That's just how I foresee the game going. This time could be different, but I don't see a team. I am going to go with Joey B here earlier. He says that the Broncos game is probably going to be a loss because it's a short week and going to Mile High. That is going to be one of the toughest games on our schedule, not because of the team that they have there, but for the exact reasons that he has. Now, the short week doesn't bother me as much as going to Mile High. If that game was at home, I might have a different outlook on it, right? But going to Mile High, that's one of, if not the best home field advantages in all of sports, period. Right. So.
Yeah. And like you said, this game is on a short week following playing the Titans. And you guys know how physical the Titans and Colts games are, because they're both very similar and, they try to win through physicality and stuff. So I would agree that is the hardest game on the schedule, the way I see it as well. But I'm not giving that a loss because, like I said, I really believe in this team and the hunger. And man, this team starts getting that momentum going. And I mean, you've seen it. We've seen it many times. Look at what the Raiders did there at the end of last year. Everybody was like, "Wow, they were performing way above their head." And they just got things rolling, and they started really performing well against some of the teams that you weren't quite expecting.
Well, I mean, last year after our 0-3 start, I said, "Hey, I got a feeling the Colts are about to go on a run, a big run. I wouldn't be surprised if they went on a 8-2 run. Guess what? They went on an 8-2 run last year after going 0-3. It happens. It happens. Now, the biggest issue with starting off hot is exactly not letting the gas burn out when you get down, towards the 17, 18, week. I'm going to have you continue on because my son is calling me. So,
okay. Yeah. One thing about that though, for me is I think this year, because of the way it last year ended and just that nasty taste. And like you said, we were on such a hot run and everything was going so good and stuff. And then to taper off and fall flat like we did in the last couple of weeks, I really believe that is going to be a motivating factor. So if we do get that hot start, it's going to be really advantageous to keeping it because they're going to remember. I mean, JT, you hear him say, don't take your foot off the gas. Keep your foot on the gas. That was the biggest message. I mean, if you guys haven't got to check out the Colts.com interview with JT, man, I love hearing that kid talk. I mean, he gets me. I'm like, after listening to his interviews, man, I always come out just feeling like, yes, let's go. I'm ready to strap it on right now, But like I said, I just feel like that mentality that don't let your foot off the gas and let's keep this. So if you get that ball rolling in the right direction, I think it's going to go a long way to be maintaining it.
Well, that's also another reason why, having this late bye week again could be helpful if the Colts do go on a big start and have that hot streak. They'll need that as a break, a mental break. Take a week off. Actually take a week off, go out, sit down. A lot of people's like, well, the Colts, started to crash after that. No, they didn't. After their bye week last week, they went out and they beat the Patriots and then they beat the Cardinals, so it's no big deal. That's not the issue. The issue was something completely different last year, which we've already went over 1.5 million times. But man, I'm excited. I'm really excited about this schedule. Guys, I'm going to take a moment here to ask you guys to please smash that like button now. Please, 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 before you, in case you forget later, hit the like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag the notification bell. We will go live again. We got a Patreon tomorrow, 8 o'clock, where we're all going to be all together. And one of the big topics will be, the schedule for the different teams in the NFL. And then, of course, you want to be notified when we upload other stuff, much like some of our interviews. The one that I had with Eric Johnson II just came out a few days ago, right? Exclusive interview. That was great. And don't forget, you can share to your favorite social media. We'd appreciate that a lot too, because that is the biggest way and the best way to help us grow. Real quick, there's going to be a lot of videos that I'm going to be uploading this weekend, possibly starting tonight, over on Newsbreak. It will not be on YouTube or anywhere else. It'll be a Newsbreak exclusive videos. So make sure you go and check that out. You can download the app and follow us for free by the link down in the description. And you can also, donate to the channel. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. Brian says that Denver is only an hour away from him and that he'll make the trip provided he can get a ticket. If anybody is watching and want to donate a ticket to Brian, let me know. Hit me up in the comments, all right, or DM me on Twitter. We'll see if we can't make that happen. If you can't get one yourself, no matter, because if you live near there, then you sure as heck should be able to go watch a Colts game. That'd be awesome. So, hey, it's been 23 minutes. We still got a little bit more on the schedule to discuss. What is your favorite game that you're looking forward to?
Week 1. Week 1 is me, man. I mean, like I said, understanding how this team is put together and stuff, and understanding how important that this season and getting a good start, it's all about week 1. I mean, week 1's always the one I'm going to be most excited about anyhow. But this one, like I said, the fact of the history, it's so huge to get this thing going off on the right page.
The game I'm looking forward to the most is the game that for the entire week from November 21st through November 28th, Joe Thornburg is not going to want to be anywhere around me.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's our first Monday night football game. We have lost to Pittsburgh multiple times in a row. We've had bad situations against the Steelers all the way back to the AFC Championship game with Harbaugh quarterbacking for the Colts. Okay, you remember that game. All right. It's just a game that I am most looking forward to. It's home. I want the Colts to win. It's going to be a game that I am incredibly excited for, and I am pounding the table for a win in that game. I understand there are so many more games out there that are more meaningful, winning in Jacksonville, the Titans games, obviously, Washington, facing Carson Wentz again, right? Or playing the Patriots, which is always a big deal. The Steelers game is huge to me.
That Patriots game is my personal game, because the way last year went out and the way that the Colts performed, but then, what it led to and stuff. But to sit there and go on the road and do it in their house and sit there and put back-to-back W's on the board against these guys, that would go a long way to get to exercising some of those old demons that I've been dealing with for the last 20 plus years.
Brandon Wood looking forward to making Joe's nerves go off the deep end there. They already get on each other's nerves occasionally over there in Discord and on our Patreon streams. Hey, you know what? It is what it is. All right. Truitt says he's actually scared about the Commanders. Washington's got a good team. Now it's going to be interesting because I think he could. I said beforehand, I think he could fit there. Depending upon what kind of offense they play, they got the right guys. So we'll see. Yeah, go fly out to Indy for the Commanders game. All right,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
let us know if you do, Joey B. We'll find a cheaper place for you to hang out for a little bit.
Deep Patel says Pierce got dehydrated in rookie practice today and had to walk off. Well, it's only like 87 degrees outside, so I can understand that. It's not like he is used to this kind of heat and humidity. It's not like he played in Florida or Texas or something in college. So, I mean, he played across the street, right across a river, and there he is, down there in Cincinnati. So,
but the good, I mean, and if you want to look at the bright side of this thing is, this is the time of year where you're worried about some of these guys coming in and sort of just walking through things. Doesn't sound like he was only giving half a heart to this thing. So let's go, young soldier. Let's go.
Absolutely. I mean, that has to make Reggie Wayne proud. I mean, if you have to come off the field due to being dehydrated, that means you put some work in that day, right? Mm-hmm. And it's rookie minicamp. It's not like they're expected to go out there and kill themselves practicing, but some guys do, right? So, good, great. I'm very, don't get yourself hurt. Don't make a long-term habit of this. But you know what? If you got to come off and, get some hydration, that's awesome. All right. There was a comment earlier about our offensive line that they were a little worried about. I got to scroll way up here. I'm going to try to find it. If I can't, then I can't.
Well, and that's sort of crazy. I was sitting there and you think about Pierce with the way they track these kids and the way they keep tabs on everything. It's really interesting that he was able to get to that point where he had to come off the field. Or was it just that, like you said, he just needed to catch a breather and was cramping? Because, dehydration is, it's been there, done that. All your muscles start, cramping up and you start looking sort of like an Igor type of thing going on, depending on where you're getting dehydrated. And it can be quite painful.
So Brandon says the only place we didn't really upgrade is the O-line. We replaced our guard depth. This is back when I said that we're just a better team overall. We replaced our guard depth with tackle depth and still have unproven talent at the interior. The Indianapolis Colts can go out and get guys. They do an incredible job of getting interior depth. All right, they're very good at evaluating interior. Getting the exterior offensive line right, in my opinion, was way more important right now, because I feel like that depth right now I'm good with. I've watched a lot of film on Ryman is his name. Ryman. All right, that's how you pronounce it. I'll have to take me a minute to get you. It's like Ryemun is how it's pronounced. It's Austrian, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Yep.
But I went and looked at a lot of film this past week of Ryman, and dude's good. Dude is good. I get it. He played at a smaller school, but he only played a year and a half at that tackle.
Yeah.
A year and a half, and was, playing dominant at left tackle, right? I mean, my goodness, the dude can only get better. People, but his arms are a little shorter. So, if you have perfect technique, and I'm telling you, sitting, just to the side of a guy who, if you want to work on your technique, there's a guy over there that I'm sure will be more than happy to teach you everything you need to know about technique. Oh, by the way, you have a coach, that is pretty darn good, was a really darn good offensive lineman in the NFL before he became a coach here. Now, granted, he was a Titan, but it is what it is.
And a Jet.
And a Jet.
Yeah.
But he was an all pro, at what he did. So
Hall of Famer. Heck
Hall
yeah.
of Famer.
I will say also, with Brandon's point here is, yes, I understand what he's saying as far as we've replaced that depth at the tackle position. But if you look at that, I mean, Ryman, even, Pryor, Fries, all these guys are like really interchangeable, you know what I mean? So they can protect that interior. They can sort of overlay. And then let's not forget some of these UDFAs that were brought on or some of the more higher sought after undrafted free agents in the interior also. So I understand Brandon's point as far as when you look at the starting lineup and stuff, but I would argue that Pryor probably, if he keeps the starting job, is going to be better than what Fisher was last year at that left tackle. And then, like you said, that right guard spot, I mean, the Colts will find the solution if Penter's not it. Ryman, I know that everybody's thinking Ryman's our left tackle, but Ballard even said, in his post draft, that we'll get the best 5. And if we have to move him to guard, we'll move him to guard, So, yeah, because like you said, his arms are a little short, but his feet, he makes up for it so much with his feet that it really, because I'm an arm guy. I was one of those guys when I first, looking into him and stuff, man, he's got some shorter arms, but it was just, because like 33 is my cutoff.
I mean,
like,
it's not like he's walking around like this, all right?
And the thing was like I said, his feet, because of his background with the tight end and stuff, he's so fluid and just really light on his feet that he's able to he's able to compensate for the lack of. And the thing is he's got arm length, 32 7/8 inch, but he always keeps them in really, so
which is the way you're supposed to.
Well, but I mean on contact, there's no explosion every time. Sorry guys, that probably freaks you out, but every time, you're supposed to explode. And he really didn't have that. It was like the defender would come to him and then he'd explode into him. So these are little quirky things, like you said, Strasser, Mawai, Quentin Nelson, Pryor. A lot of these guys can sit there, and this kid has proven that he's hungry. He's sacrificed a lot to make this, make it into football and into the NFL. So motivation isn't a problem for him.
So, okay, real quick, I want to say, what's up, Chaz? Appreciate you being here. There's a bunch of people in the chat that I haven't been able to get to, ain't been able to bring it up. I'm sorry. Can't get to everybody. But hey, if you want to make sure that you have a question or comment that you want to get up on the stream, go ahead and use the link in the description below for donations. There's no limit with donation amount as opposed to, how long your question or comment is. So it's not like YouTube where $3 gets you this much of a, comment. So, and please smash that like button. Like Chaz said, thank you so much, my guy. Appreciate you. We're going to go ahead and do another real quick. Let me look and see what we got here. Oh yeah. Ooh, bam. Go check out the Backroom Collection. This channel is proudly sponsored by the Backroom Collection. They do beautiful sports canvas art with football, basketball, baseball, and other sports themes. Special orders are accepted and autograph pieces are available. Many Indianapolis Colts signed pieces will be available beginning in November. Just use your discount code CL10 to purchase the pieces you want to spice up your living area. That's CL10. Absolutely, John. I don't have to go anywhere anytime soon. So, we might make this longer than an hour. We might cut it off short. I mean, it just depends upon you guys, right? And how this stream goes. That's just how it's going to work today because my wife went and got my son, so I don't have to get up and run at 7:00.
Let me ask you a question.
Hold on.
I'm backing down.
Hold on. Hold on there. Chaz in the green room drops $5 in the donation jar that you saw. I just got done talking about. Appreciate you, guy. Thank you so much. You could have put a question or comment in with that. I will keep an eye and make sure in the chat right now, if you want to bring something up, I will make sure that it gets brought up. But thank you so much. Go ahead now.
Okay, I just curious because we sat there and we talk about how we've struggled with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, and now you sit there and you realize who their head coach is and Peterson and his familiarity with Coach Reich and the way he runs the organization and stuff. Do you think that and I'm not really thinking that it'll be as much of a thing week 2, but do you think that, what is it, week 5 or 6 that we play them? Do you think that game might be a little bit tougher here at home than what we've experienced over the last few years?
No. Look, I'm just going to say this. I would put my money on Reich over Peterson any day of the week. And here's something for you. You want to talk about, well, Peterson knows about Frank Reich, vice versa. Hello. You don't think Frank Reich's going to be right over there talking to Gus Bradley going, all right, these are tendencies to look out for. His quarterback's going to flip it over to his tight end, and he's going to expect that his quarterback's going to be in the end zone on the corner over there. All right, so make sure we got someone over there to pick it off and run it pick 6, 99 the other way. All right. That's the only play that Peterson has that's worth it. Oh, wait, no, that was my play. Don't expect that to actually happen. So we're best play. Oh, so yeah. No, seriously, Frank Reich is he knows Peterson. Peterson knows him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too worried about that. Mainly because, like I said, it's going to be our defense. It's not like Reich runs the offense or the defense on our team, right? And it's our defense that's going to be facing Peterson's offense and vice versa, right? So, sure, they'll probably tell a little bit about, each other's tendencies. But now, if this was more of along the lines of, we were playing Chicago, right? Mm-hmm. And it was Frank Reich versus Matt Eberflus, that could be a problem, but it is what it is. I don't see how a Peterson or Reich would come into that. And looky here, we got a new subscriber, Hagster Plays. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. All right. Joe B says the losses I have for us this year are the Broncos, Raiders, Vikings, Titans, and Eagles. Hey, you know what? We finished 12-5. I'll be okay with that. You got us beating 3 out of the 4 of the AFC West. Looks 3 out of the 4 of now. I think we sweep the NFC East.
He's got 2 out of the 4. He's got the
Broncos. Oh no. The Broncos and Raiders are the same team.
My
bad. No. I honestly, I think the Colts go 3-1 against the AFC West. If they go 2-2, I'm good with it. At least go 2-2. I think we'll go 3-1.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not as concerned about the Vikings game because we got a bye week right before that. You give this, you give Bradley and Reich a whole extra week to figure things out. I think Minnesota's gonna be like, okay, what's going on here? And not to mention JT is just gonna get in that new dome of theirs and be like, oh, let me see how these legs work in here.
All right. Chaz wants to know if we can beat the Chargers. Yeah, we could beat the Chargers. It's home Monday night football game. Absolutely, we could beat the Chargers. All right, so we have Stefan Gilmore at cornerback. If Gilmore is healthy at this time, because it's going to be late in the season when we face the Chargers on Monday night. But if Gilmore is healthy, he'll be all over Mike Williams, all over him. All right, because that's the style of receiver that Gilmore is good against. All right. He's not very good against like the small Tyreek Hills and T.Y. Hiltons and stuff. He's good against the big guys, right? And Mike's a big guy. All right. So yeah, I think that that's a situation. The biggest concern for me will be getting the ball out quickly because the Chargers have got a nice little pass rush up front. But you know, we have the weapons to take advantage of that, and Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines and stuff like that. I feel like Frank Reich will be ready for that game.
Yeah, plus Gus Bradley. I mean, coming from the Raiders last year, you know, I mean, and Yannick Ngakoue, these guys are really familiar with what they have on the opposite side of the ball. And like you said, I just feel like every home primetime game, because of the push and because of the outcry that the owner and everybody, I would have to imagine that there's going to be that little extra emphasis coming from up top, you know, from Mr. Irsay going, come on, guys, I know I want this W. It was bad. I stopped. I'll leave that to McAfee.
Right. It's all good. All right. So speaking of Jim Irsay, maybe our first home game against Kansas City will be that game that the bet comes up for Pat McAfee. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Where Jim Irsay said, "Hey, if you can kick a 35-yard field goal and then perform a fake punt 35-yard touchdown pass to Reggie Wayne in the end zone, I will donate $1 million to 3 charities, you know, and in your name." So honestly, that'd be a big situation. You know, I would like to see that happen during that Kansas City game.
Yeah, and anytime you can get McAfee in there, you know, like you said, under prime time situations or whatever, and have that opportunity to get the crowd infused, you know, with that pop as he always refers to and stuff, that's going to be awesome.
Right. Truett got a little question in here. If we lose TY, which we've already lost TY, and what I'm saying, I sincerely doubt that he comes back. He the way he's tweeting, it doesn't sound like he's coming back. But is Pittman the teacher / leader for Pierce? And I'm going to say, could he learn from Pittman? Absolutely. But the best teacher leader for Pierce is going to be his coach, Reggie Wayne, because they are almost identical in how they play. Okay. And that's the only thing that is a little bit different. Reggie Wayne was a route running, you know, connoisseur, and that's what Pierce needs, is taught a little bit about the route running. I'm good. You know, we got the guys in place to teach him.
Yeah, I agree completely. Like you said, Reggie, I think, is going to be, I mean, it'll be a combination of Reggie and Matt Ryan, but I think that this receiving core is going to find a lot of more production, which isn't as good for JT as far as his stats go. But as far as prolonging his career and keeping him healthy, I'll take that every day, including twice on Sunday.
What's up, Slasher? Appreciate you being in here. He says Julio Jones is going to the Colts around August. Somebody's been paying attention to a former radio host. That's all I'm going to say about that. Could it happen? Yeah, and I wouldn't be against it. I don't want to. I'm not pushing for it, but I'm not against it because, you know, there is obviously some very good history between him and our current quarterback. So, you know, it could be a good thing, but we'll see. I don't know. Chad says Pierce has a little more speed. Don't tell Reggie, though. But Reggie has that ability to find an open spot and catch anything thrown within his catch radius. So he has that.
And there was some good news today because Chris Ballard had his media day breakdown of film rooms and stuff on the rookies and stuff. And I read where Kevin Bowen had asked, you know, hey, or somebody had asked, and Kevin Bowen had reported on it, that he'd asked Ballard about the knock on Pierce about how he's real tight lower half and stuff. And Ballard came back with an emphatic, you know, no, I don't see that at all. I mean, yes, he needs to get better at his route running, but he's like that flexibility, his in and out of his breaks and stuff. He says that's not a weakness for this young man. He says you just got to give him more time to acquiesce and learn it and get part of his DNA. But yeah, I'm super hyped to see what he can bring this year.
Absolutely. Let's get back to the schedule.
Okay.
Just looking at the schedule right now, we talked about some of these games. Obviously, you know, the Chargers game the day after Christmas, right? That's going to be interesting. We had a Christmas Day game last year, and this year is a day after Christmas, prime time. So that's actually going to be fun to watch. Probably maybe the biggest viewed game. It'll definitely be the biggest viewed game of that week. But maybe of the year. I mean, at that point, day after Christmas, it's Chargers, who very well could be fighting for their divisional lead, the Colts, who could be fighting for their divisional lead, and there's only 2 weeks left after that. That's going to be a big game. Here's something for you. How about the Dallas Cowboys? How about that game? That's going to be interesting. That game actually scares me a little bit. Just a little bit. Do I think we beat them? I absolutely do think we can beat them. But it scares me a little bit because I really do think that the Cowboys have got the talent on their team, even after losing Amari Cooper. They still have a lot of really good talent, and Dak has the ability to extend a play, right? And he doesn't extend it to take off and run with the football. You know, he's more along the lines of that Russell Wilson type, where he extends it generally, continuing to look downfield. So those type of scrambling quarterbacks worry me a lot more than, say, the Josh Allen scramblers or the Lamar Jackson scramblers, things of that nature. And that worries me just a little bit.
And I agree. I think it's going to be a tough game. But then you look at what Dallas has lost on that offensive line. I mean, you know, they still have a good offensive line, but it is nothing to the strength that it was even 2 years ago. You know what I mean? So
Oh, yeah.
I really think that our pass rush can give these guys some serious headaches. You know, and then you sit there and look at our secondary. I mean, man, I cannot express to you. I don't think that there is an offense that's going to look at this defense by the end of the year and say, that was an easy game. You know what I mean? And barring injuries and stuff, because this defense is just going to be legit at all three levels. And I think that is something that causes Prescott a lot of problems. And then you look at their flashy toy in their secondary. Heck, you know, Matt Ryan, if you ever want to test Diggs, you're 50-50. It's either going to be a touchdown or a pass defended. But I mean, like I said, I would take Matt Ryan over a younger second year, you know, cornerback in Diggs a lot. So I guess I think the Cowboys game is going to be a 14-point win. I really do. I think the Colts are going to go in there and being on that, because isn't that that's right after the Steelers game, and that the only thing is you see that emotional letdown from the Steelers game to the Cowboys game. But I feel like going to Jerry's World just sort of gives you that added spectacle. You know what I mean? That added experience to it type of thing.
Well, also we got to remember when everybody talks about, well, we shut out, 23-0 last time we played them. And that was, when Zeke was at his best and blah, blah. They had him, all. And that's true, but they left a lot of points on the board. I mean, a lot. They're like first and goal at the 4, missed field goal at like the 12 or some crap like that. There should have been a touchdown where Dak utterly missed Ezekiel Elliott on a flat route. Right out there. He was there and he just threw it in the dirt. Hey, all Zeke had to do was catch it, turn, and take 2 steps, and it was a touchdown. We lucked out that it was a blank. Granted, we did beat that ass. All right, I will admit that. All right, but it was a lot of luck that it ended up being, a complete shutout game. So,
yeah, I wanted to bring out this one because, he says Steelers gives us problems typically. And you know what? The thing that really worries me about that Steelers game is TJ Watt. TJ Watt putting all this pressure on whichever tackle we have at that point in time is going to be somebody that is not familiar with lining across from a TJ Watt type of player. And that right there, I can see now, all week long, we're going to be, we're chipping them. We're going to be pulling the tight end in. Matt Ryan's going to only be looking at the other side of the field. I mean, there's TJ Watt is just, man, that dude is an amazing, amazing player. And that does concern me for the lack of proven experience at the left tackle spot.
Yeah, Joey B, they added Miles Jack, but the Colts knows Miles Jack pretty well. I mean, Miles Jack got pancake blocked by a certain Mo Alley Cox 3 times in the last 2 years. Okay, just saying. All right, Miles is a very similar to a Darius, not on Darius Leonard's level, right? Even though Miles, if I remember correctly, wasn't he the first pick of a draft? Wasn't he the number 1 pick? Or I know he was a high first rounder, but
okay.
Let me look at that real quick because
yeah, I mean, either way, the young man is he's got the skills for sure. But like you said, I feel like this team and the additions that have been made, there is not a single team that attacks our weaknesses any more than the Steelers.
Oh no, he fell to the 36th overall pick. Okay, but he was expected to be an incredibly high pick. Never mind. I'm sorry, guys. But no, he's very fast. He's just he doesn't have the ability to get off blocks the way Darius does. So, and Mo Alley Cox, I think he'll have his number all day long. But you're right. That whole TJ dude, he scares me a little. he scares me more than a little. More than a little. All right.
I don't know why, but I worry about him more than I worry about what the Chargers bring to us. Okay. And I'm not knocking Boser, but for some reason, TJ Watt, he just, even when you game plan for this young man, he still finds a way to affect the game in a good way for his team almost always.
TJ Watt. John Davis wants to know who the Steelers have for quarterback. TJ Watt can play all the positions. At the same time, he's a one-man wrecking crew. No, they have.
Does this help you? Does this help you teach to know who their quarterback is? Little hands. He's got little hands or Trubisky. It's either little hands or Trubisky.
yeah.
But Kenny Pickett is who I was talking about.
Pickett, I know.
No,
but you know what? That's why the Steelers game is the game that I'm looking forward to the most. Their defense always gives us problems. Always. Y'all remember when Brissett went out and Hoyer went in, and next thing you know, the Steelers had this safety they just got from the Dolphins. Hoyer throws it, just lobs this ball up to this safety, and he went the other way, like 96 yards or something with it. And we were winning. Hoyer goes in and we lose the game. We were winning before. He's called Hoyer the Destroyer because he destroys his own teams. All right.
I can't remember. Is that Raiders game? Okay, that's at Las Vegas this year. Yeah. So that Raiders game is going to be challenging because, I mean, they're already going to be middle of the season, so you're going to see that offense is probably going to be clicking at full throttle by then. So that's another game that's going to be tough. But I just, like I said, I don't think that any team me personally, I don't look at any team and say that they're going to hang a double-digit victory on us.
No, and here's the thing: if we falter week 17 and week 18 like we did last year, this year, fire everybody because it'll be against the Giants and the Texans. All right, fire everyone. I mean, burn Lucas Oil to the ground and rebuild, start fresh. Okay. If we lose to the Giants and the Texans back to back, all right, because we have no business losing to those two teams. At least the Raiders, is a team that we generally can lose to. They're a good team. Jacksonville, we've had a history of losing to Jacksonville in Jacksonville. But the Giants, look, I know there's a lot of Giants fans out there, but
Sorry.
Come on. All right. I literally watched your team last year defensively stand there. Your front seven stand there as soon as the ball was hiked, stand there with their hands on their hips while the other team ran the offensive play. Okay. And the Houston Texans, last year we beat the Houston Texans 63 to 3. Okay, between both games. We have no business losing those two games. I'm just saying.
I'll tell you what, if we lose those two games, I think you're going to have to replace me with Goki for that week, because you guys are just going to have to burn YouTube down with that show.
Oh my goodness, right? Oh, I don't go on a lot of rants, but when I do, they're generally pretty good. You don't want to miss them. All right. Heck, I'm thinking about starting a rant channel. I have been thinking about that, not just for just general rant channel about stuff that ticks me off. Right.
So basically, every hour after you get off Twitter, you'll just be on that channel. Is that what I'm hearing?
There you go. Every time a Titans fan makes any kind of a tweet, on my stuff, because they focus on Colts fans' Twitter. I don't understand why, because they don't have anything else to do down there in the Tennessee, I get, apparently, right? I mean, so they just worried about what Colts fans are saying. It's really weird. Ooh, anytime a Jonathan Taylor tweet cannot happen without at least 10 Titans fans jumping in with a Derrick Henry rebuttal.
Yes, and the thing is you could have sat there in week 14 and said JT's going to have a better game than Derrick Henry. He wasn't playing, but you're still going to get the Titans fans on there going,
Well, you never know. Week 14, Derrick Henry might not be playing. He might be injured like he was last year.
That's what I was saying. No, that's what I was saying last year.
Well, week 14, yeah. He might do it this year too,
Well, I we're misspeaking though, because it couldn't have been week 14. We're both on bye weeks last year and this year.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Speaking of, what do you think of the bye week? Do you think it's a perfect place, or or would you have rather had it somewhere else?
Okay, perfect. No, because week 14, it is real deep, but I do like, in week 11, 12, 13, that really is where I would prefer to have that, because you remember last year, we sat there and we were like, we had all the ridiculous injuries and stuff, and we were like, man, if we could have had it early in the year, that would have helped us maybe have a better starting record. This year, we're going to stay healthy. As long as we can stay healthy and stuff with the teams that we've got on our early roster or early schedule, I'm very pleased with what we have in the latter half, with having a bye week in the latter half, because then you get to sit there and recharge. You get to sit there and get that energy built back up for that playoff run that we fully expect to happen this year.
All right. What's up, Don? Appreciate you being in here. All right. So here's my thing. We're an hour in. And I'm still streaming. Guys, please smash that like button. All right. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. Last time I think we had, when I ended it, we had a whole 30 likes. I'd like to be able to have more than that this time. I love you guys. Love you guys. Each and every one of you. I know you guys try your best. Building off what Don here says with Henry will see the real deal once JT smokes him. What's your prediction on Jonathan Taylor's total output this upcoming season?
Oh, see, now you're going to get people turning on me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think JT is going to have a great year. But like I said, with Matt Ryan, with opening up the pass game and the offense and stuff, with the fact that I feel like last year we leaned too heavy. And I know a lot of Colts fans were pushing for more and more on JT. But if you want JT to continue being a stud year in and year out, you're going to have to find more balance. You're going to have to take some of the load off of him running into these 8 and 9 man boxes and stuff. And that's going to be helped out by, like I said, Matt Ryan and this young wide receiving core and this young tight end room getting out there and really spreading the field out. But the thing is I think JT's going to have less attempts, but I think his yards per carry is going to go up. So like I said, I still think he's going to have I think he's going to have a really good season, but I still think that JT is going to sit there and hit these 7-man boxes, and then he's just going to just destroy some of the littler guys. Or you're going to have Alec Pearson and Michael Pittman Jr. locking these guys up down the field and stuff, and the lanes are still going to be massive for JT.
Dude had like 5 yards, 5.5 yards, something like that. It's
5.6, I think.
Yeah, yards per carry. I mean, he was monster last year. 1,800 yards rushing, 20-some touchdowns. Holy crap. I'm not expecting Jonathan Taylor to have over 2,000 yards from scrimmage again and over 20 touchdowns. Okay, I'm not expecting that. If he has 1,400 yards, I think that's a great season. 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns. That's still right up there, all pro, darn near, right? I mean, depending upon how other people, 1,400 yards would have still led the league last year. I mean,
yes, it would have. and I do believe that he's also going to get better in the passing game this year with Matt Ryan, because I think Matt Ryan is going to utilize that check down, whether it's Naheem Hines or JT or, a screen bubble or whatever. I just see a lot of quicker passes this year. So like I said, I think JT is going to get less reps running into these loaded boxes, but I do think he's going to get more yards per carry. But then that receiving game, he has an opportunity to ignite a lot of those arguments where people can sit there and say, "Oh, he's not a good receiver." We'll see this year.
All right, since we're on that and we're on the schedule, tell me the game that Jonathan Taylor, biggest game of the year next year. Which game is he going to produce the most yards and or touchdowns next season? Ooh. That's tough.
Yes, it is. I mean, I can't help but look at the Texans and the Jags. You know what I mean? But that Jags defense it's no joke. And
I mean, if the Giants front seven stand there with their hands on their hips, they're going to get blown away, like they did last year. But I'm not going to put it on the Giants. My answer will probably surprise some people. But go ahead.
Yeah. Wow. Where would that come? Sorry, guys. I know this is great. This is great YouTube content.
You're sitting there thinking. John Davis says he believes the Patriots game will be his biggest game. All right. Come on, guys. Use the chat while he's thinking. I already know who I'm going to say. I think that John. I think that it's going to be a very big surprise. Chaz says the Chiefs.
Honestly, I think he's going to have a good game against the Broncos. I think, I really do think that they're really good at the getting to the passer but that run defense and that has just dropped off a little bit. I like the Patriots game. Man, that front seven in Washington's pretty awesome.
Thank you, Glenn, for the subscription. Appreciate you, my guy.
Yeah, and I don't look at the Giants quite as a pushover. Because I do like a lot of additions, and their draft was pretty good, all things considered. I'm gonna go with either. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Vikings. It comes off a bye week. JT's, gets that extra week of rest and relaxation for the legs and stuff. And like I said, I think that the Vikings game is going to be something that we're just going to be able to balance attack them guys all day. So the Vikings, that's the one.
Brandon Wood just asked, do we play the Vikings?
Oh, yes, we
do.
No,
no, we don't. Anthony, no, we did not just start. It's been going on for 1 hour and 6 minutes as of now. So just letting you know. I got a timer right there for me. It tells me how long we've been there. Juicy. Oh, no, that's Junsey. Yeah, it's Junsey. XX on the end, so it'd be Junsey. Says the Raiders. I am going to go with, where is it? I'm going to agree with Don. I think that JT hits big in the Cowboys game. A lot of people are going to be like, but they have that linebacker. He's a little linebacker. This is going to be one of those games where it's like a welcome to the NFL moment. And Jonathan Taylor is going to earn that whole, that staff on
angry run on Good Morning Football.
Yeah, he's going to earn that. He's going to run him over twice, and then gain a ton of extra yards after the contact in that game. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. That's yeah.
I just wanted to put this out because I like when somebody agrees with me. He says, yep. He says he's seen the Packers push almost 200 rushing yards on them, and they lost a huge piece of their D-line on the interior.
Okay. I mean, it's quite possible.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's hard to sit there and go, okay, because JT's so good at performing well, even whenever they know he's going to run, And like I said, now it's like, how much do teams start favoring Matt Ryan and what this receiving offense can do, and where they're going to have to be like, okay, we can't start off just loading the box up. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of these front sevens nowadays are geared towards stopping the pass and not the run. Yeah,
it is. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for us. We've been here for about 1 hour and 10 minutes, and honestly, I'd like to eat something. This was a great stream, though. Thank each and every one of you. Thanks for coming in. The chat was really lively. Loyalist, ain't talked to you in a minute, on one of these streams, so it was nice to sit down and converse with you. We're going to do some videos and pop them up, like I said, on Newsbreak. Go check them out. Also, I have a merch shop. You can go check that out as well down here. It's great for Father's Day gifts, right? I mean, come on, Father's Day's next month. You can get that all in there. Anthony wants to know a record prediction. That's going to be next week's show. All right. We not really getting into that quite yet. The way too early record prediction will be next week. But this was just going over the schedule and our reaction and our favorite parts about it. But thanks, guys. Migsby asks if we're watching any of these games in person. I don't know. I probably won't, because I generally do live reactions to the games for content. Who knows? Loyalist might show up to one. That'd be great. If he does, I'd be rooting for him to have a great time. But any final words before we get out of here?
No, like I said, I'm just super hyped for the way this schedule broke down this year, the way that we've got 4 primetime games, 2 of them at home. We get, the Texans and the Jags and that early start. Man, I'm telling you right now, I'm ready for football this week. I don't care if they're ready. Let's just start it now.
Awesome. All right. I'm ready for it too, but obviously I get excited for training camp. So, I really like going out and checking out training camp. But until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Loyalist. And as usual, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.
So I'm sitting here thinking, if I had a nickel for every time a Titans fan jumped on my Twitter, I would have enough money to make sure that Titans fans couldn't jump on my Twitter.